Welcome, Las Cruces. I'm Pam Wolf, here today with candidate for Las Cruces Mayor Mike Tellez. This is our last time to get together before Election Day, and today we want to talk about solutions, not the status quo. We've covered a lot of issues, Mike. It's been a really interesting and busy 6 weeks.
Yes, I'm telling you, it's amazing how fast 6 weeks has gone by. It just seems we just started a couple days ago, but here we are.
It does feel like
Election Day is rapidly approaching us. Tuesday, November 5th is the last chance to vote.
Last chance to make a difference.
7 p.m. That we've got to understand that is our last chance to change our future in Las Cruces.
That's right. If you don't vote, you can't complain.
Well, if you don't vote, we can't move forward unless you vote.
That's exactly right. Today we want to kind of recap some of the things we've talked about. Mike, your platform has been overwhelmingly well received by people on both sides of the political aisle. They call this a nonpartisan race. I don't think there's really any such thing, because people are registered with a party that they affiliate with, and that's all well and good. But your platform has resonated with people from all walks of life, from all economic strata, from all social strata, from all educational strata. I would like to say thank you for the thought that you've put into the platform that you've put together. But we've covered so much territory in the last few weeks. We wanted today to just kind of wrap it up. Let's start with that 3-point plan that you've talked about all the way through.
You bet.
What will change the culture of Las Cruces?
You know, Pam, hitting on what you just said, I started this campaign saying, I am neither from the left or for the right, I am for the people. Mm-hmm. I'm not politics or government, I'm the people's person. I'm a servant leader, I'm here to serve the people of Las Cruces, and I would like to think I've made that clear that both sides are, you know what, owning a business. They said, Mike, what party are you? I said, whatever those people are, that's my party. Well, what party am I? I am the People's Party. The party that will help and reach and care for the people here.
Well, you've taken the situation that the people are having to deal with in Las Cruces, and I will grant you, Las Cruces has really gotten some pretty little corners and some pretty nooks and crannies.
It sure does.
And it's a fun place to live. I love the aquatic center. That's amazing. But you've talked about the fact that we need to get down to the nuts and the bolts.
Yes.
To the
Pam, unfortunately, I would like to see all kinds of things built in our city. I'd like to see a large amusement park on Amador, a water park where that Burns Lake is. I'd like to see that, a water park. I'd like to see the front part, an amusement park. I'd like to see an indoor skate park similar to Van's Skate Park in California. That right there in Amador, that's what I'd like to see. Pam, there's a few things we have to do before we can
get there.
We need money in this city. We cannot continue charging the people who are already having a hard time making it in this city. You know, we're overtaxed, overburdened. We cannot put more burden on the city. So that's where jobs come in. We need good paying jobs. I mean, $80,000, $90,000, $100,000 a year, up to $200,000. We need those kind of quality jobs in this town. I met with the president of Mesilla Valley Economic Development, and Davin Lopez, awesome guy. That guy's on fire. He's awesome. And I congratulated him on his success in Santa Teresa. I said, now it's our turn. What do we need to do to bring that kind of good paying jobs to Las Cruces? Santa Teresa's booming.
Yes, it is.
For El Paso workforce. We want something booming for Las Cruces workforce, not for the other states. He said, Mike, there's a few things we got to do. One of them is, you know, you're asking a business to move here. You got to have your crime under control. Right now we have a crime index of 8, which means 92% of American cities this size are safer than ours. No matter what you think about crime, you say, well, you know, I've talked to people who say, I don't care about crime, until you do. We've got to do something. I went and talked to the chief of police, and I said, we got an 8 index. What are we doing? Well, he said, we're about 20 officers short. We need more cars. We could use more than 20, but 20 would do great. And he said, but Mike, did you know 92% of the crime committed in Las Cruces is drug-related? I said, amazing. Well, I said, okay, so that comes to the second point. We talked about crime to the chief of police, then it goes to the second point, substance abuse and mental health. You know that substance abuse, I have pushed this hard. Mental health, long-term treatment for mental health and substance abuse. I've said it at every form, whether that was what they wanted to hear or not, I've brought it out. I even brought it out when it was an economic form. You know why? Because treating that is a lot to do with our economic forecast growing. I said, well, I went to La Clinica, the president of La Clinica, and I said, what can we do about this? We got a problem here. And he said, well, we do this and we do that. And I said, well, how about long term? How about if we were to take, for instance, let's say for instance, the property at Three Crosses and build a state-of-the-art facility for substance abuse and mental health. One that we could go out and get grants, they just released $8 billion in grants, private money from Kellogg's, Annie Casey, Carnegie, get those grants and get as close to paying that facility off as we can so you have a low enough overhead to where you can treat every person that needs help in our entire area right here without worrying about if their insurance ain't covered or if they don't have the money for deductible.
So you're talking about not putting a Band-Aid on the problem.
Band-Aids don't work.
Getting to the root of it and making a change in the culture.
We have spent the last 20 years throwing Band-Aids on it just to say we're doing something about it. A Band-Aid doesn't work.
Well,
this doesn't require a Band-Aid. We're going to need to do some stitching here.
That's right.
So we need that long-term facility. We need it to where it will be able to take care of everyone and, provide up to 400 jobs. Good paying jobs. Good paying jobs. So watch this. We're going to help our community in the health area, mental health and substance abuse, and grow the economy with good paying jobs at the same time.
While you're addressing the crime issue.
And we're going to cut crime by going to the root cause, and here goes the crime index goes down. Now, when we start with, and I said we start with mental health and long-term substance abuse, we start with the problem first. As we work on that, everything falls into place. Well, we've got more jobs in. Now we start setting our community up for the companies to start coming in. Here comes the companies that pay good. Here comes our west side developing out. It has all the utilities there. Now we start developing our west side.
That's right. The taxpayers have already paid for the infrastructure out there.
It's there. And you know what? The taxpayers weren't burdened with the long-term treatment center. The people that run it are not burdened with an overhead they cannot afford. They pay $26,000 for that small location right off Main Street. So imagine what a full-size facility would be.
Wow.
Imagine having that many people working on helping our community get healthy again. And not all of us need that, but the ones who do, they do. Mental health and substance abuse affects everybody. We need to get the stigmas off of mental health and let people know, mental health doesn't mean that something's wrong with you. It means you've had stressors in your life. There's things that are happening in your life. It's growing up. It's the problems people face in life. Depression, stress, anxiety, those are areas. Dr. Mark Stanford says that by age 14, 50% of all that mental health is on a 14-year-old. By 14 years old, 50% of the mental health they'll suffer in their life is already fallen upon them. By the time they're 24, 75% of their mental health issues have fallen and compounded. You know what? You see that 14-year-old? Let's go backwards a little bit and help them get to the point to where they don't have help navigating through those hard times in life so that we don't have that problem start snowballing on us. 14 years old, They're just kids in middle school, starting to go to high school, and look what they're going through. So what do? Long-term mental health. And that doesn't mean there's something wrong like the stigma that we grew up with. No, that means you're getting health. Dr. Mark Stanford said 50% of people with mental health issues are begging for help but don't know who, where, and how to get it.
We found that in Las Cruces just a couple of weeks ago,
Yes,
Mike, when
we did.
that gentleman, and my heart just bleeds for him.
Yes.
When I think of what it must have taken, this veteran, this man who served our country, to have had to go to such desperate lengths to make his cry for help heard, that he actually tried to attack a driver that was driving down a street in Las Cruces. That was so
He was trying
very
suicide
sad.
by police, by cop.
That's right.
And you know that Dr. Stanford said that is that is what happens when you get to the melting point. You've not had any help, and you're finally to the point of just melting down. Life isn't worth living. Our suicide rate is out of control. Juveniles have a lot of help, but once you pass out 18, there's nothing. We need all those ages. We need these GIs who need help. They need to be able to walk in there, because you know what? A GI is the only person in America that is a citizen of every single city they step foot in. Because when they went to war, it wasn't for a city, it was for the United States of America. Our GIs need to be taking care of any city they go into, any hospital, any doctor. They have earned the right to go in and be treated. And if it's mental health, they've earned the right to be treated anywhere they want.
One of the things I love about your program, Mike, your ideas, is that you don't focus on the minimum wage factor. I have heard so many campaigns, so many political campaigns say, well, we've got to get the minimum wage up. But that doesn't lift anyone out of anything. You're talking about lifting them up.
Ever live on, when minimum wage was good, when you're 14, 15, 16,
exactly.
And you're going to go make a little bit of money while you're in school and take a little of the burden off your family. Minimum wage was never meant to be a livable wage. I don't know where we got that idea. A living wage is when you're making $48,000 as a nurse. It's when you're making $80,000 as an engineer on the West Mesa. When you're an electrician, when you're a heating and ventilation, all the many trades. That's when you start making living wages. And my goal isn't to focus on that minimum wage, which will never be a living wage. Mine is to bring a living wage into our community and help the community get healthy at the same exact time.
Mike, you make me believe that we can do it.
You know what? I have lived my life on doing what people say, the can'ts. I said, is that a can't? They said, yes. Good, I'll take it on.
Good, we're going to take it on. Well, you know what? One of the things that we want to talk about when we come back from the break is how, as a city, Las Cruces can talk to the people and let the people talk back.
Absolutely.
They've had this situation with the ranked choice vote, for example, thrust on them, and they didn't have any idea what it was or that it was coming. They had no input. They had nothing. It's just something that was dropped in their laps, and we'll have to see how it all works out.
All right.
But no matter whether it works well or whether it doesn't, the people didn't have any input or any say. Most of the people in Las Cruces have no clue what's going on. So many kinds of major decisions in Las Cruces are made without any idea as far as the citizens are concerned. Mm-hmm. We're going to talk about some of the complications that come from that. People not knowing what's happening in their city and really just having to swallow what's going on. So there's a lot still to talk about. Just a few minutes left after this break. For right now, I'm Pam Wolf. I hope you'll come back and listen to the rest of what Mike has to say about opening communication with the people of Las Cruces. Candidate for Mayor Mike Tellez. It's going to be election day,
It is.
Mike.
I'm excited.
We'll be right back.
Jobs has been one of the issues for years and years and years. Every time there's an election, we always hear that old cliche. It's a cliche, the promise. We're going to bring good jobs in. We're going to bring jobs. We're going to get the economic. You know what? We've heard that for long enough. I'm going to tell you about jobs. I went right to Devin Lopez and I talked to him. I said, Devin, I've seen Santa Teresa just explode in jobs and industry. What about Las Cruces? He said, Mike, there's a few things that you have to do to get jobs to come to your area. One of the things is crime. You cannot invite a company in here with a crime index that's out of hand. We have an 8 crime index in Las Cruces. What that means is 92% of the cities this size in the United States are safer to live in than us. El Paso has a 26 index. Imagine that. We have more crime. It's more dangerous to live in Las Cruces than in El Paso. That's the first thing we need to work with. I spoke to the chief of police about it. I said, what do we need to do? He said, there's a few things we need to do to address crime in Las Cruces. Besides the resources, a few cars, more officers, there's more to it than just that.
Hi, I'm Ray Bamberg with Here on Earth. I would like to invite you for a free hearing evaluation to our office. We've been here in southern New Mexico for 34 years helping people hear better.
Welcome back to Vision Las Cruces. I'm Pam Wolf with candidate for mayor of the city of Las Cruces, Mike Tellez. Mike, election day, we're in the countdown by the hour, not by the day.
The clock is ticking right now.
The clock is ticking. And you have been a remarkable proponent of communication with the people of the city.
Yes, I have.
Let's talk about some of your ideas for being able to include the people of the city in the government that they are financing.
You bet. Pam, to start with, my master's degree, I hope to walk and graduate, which I am going to walk in May, is communication. And that is what I've studied for the last 6 years, is effective communication. And that's what's missing in our city. We do not have good communication. We have, the new ballot, the type of voting we have coming, that I've studied it. I went to a training session, I've studied it, I've looked at it. You know what, I don't think it's that bad. I think, I believe that will work, because one thing it's done, I have not had to be scared to go to my mailbox one time. It has brought us all together as a group of people looking to do something for our city. And I love the candidates. I love the candidates. They're all friends. And Alexander, hey, I'm going bike riding. George, I love George. Young, I love this. The one problem is nobody thought about, the city did not think about taking the time to educate the city as to how it works. So this great plan, who knows what's going to happen, because they did not present it. This should have been presented 7-8 months ago, and there should have been workshops, there should have been examples sent in the utility bills. Everyone gets a water bill, 24% higher, unfortunately, but on the back of, on that paper that they send, they should have had all of that and started from the basics, step 1, step 2. Next week we'll tell you about the next step. They should have broke it down. They should have showed it. Every day we should have seen a commercial somewhere, even on this channel. They should have run this whole demonstration here every week.
What a concept, Mike, to take paper that you're already using, postage that you're already paying for, and give the people some communication. You've talked about rescheduling the city council meetings as well.
I believe that in order to effectively know what the people want and what they're saying, we need to take those city council meetings on the road. In Yate, when we went there, It was a beautiful auditorium there. The students ran it. Well, you know what I said? I saw that and I said, you know what? This is a good place to have a city council meeting right in this auditorium and invite this community to come in. It's 6 o'clock at night, whatever, the best time to allow all residents that are working to come home, eat dinner, and go to the city council meeting and be heard. To where every district, there's what, 7 districts? We need to go to every single district. And districts that have people that don't, they could predominantly come out earlier, well, we may schedule it earlier for them. But for the working districts, we need to put it at a time they can get out of work and go to a meeting, go to the city council meeting, and be heard in groups small enough to where we can effectively listen. How many times have you heard that they don't listen? Well, you know, you got to think. When you got 7 districts of people talking, how can anyone understand or listen?
I heard someone say just the other day, someone who has served on city council in the past, it doesn't matter what time you have the meetings, people aren't interested, they don't come. But it seems to me that when they know that something is happening and that something matters to them and how they're able to raise their families in the city, they're going to come. But we have to communicate with them.
Well, Pam, when you get that water bill that's 24% higher, unfortunately, in one of those flyers inside, let your voice be heard. City Council will meet at Oñate, at Centennial, at Mayfield, at Cruces. City Hall will meet in your neighborhood to hear your concerns on this date at this time. And then send it on TV, however we need to do it.
I think that you can do it, Mike. I really think you can do it.
You know what? If we have to canvass it, we canvass it. And you know what? This is harder to hear. I believe the mayor, which would be me, and the council members should not have any problem going on the road every week till we get to every district. We don't want to wait 2 weeks or a month. Let's get it done. We want to know before summer hits, what are the issues? What are we faced with?
So you're talking about not just going into the old historic district for the Pachanga, but going into the old historic district to talk to them about their roads.
Yes, ma'am. How are your roads? How are we treating you? What can we do to help you in your neighborhood? That sounds like something we do quite a bit. But ask the people, what can we do to better serve you? I heard the other day there was a senior, disabled, no gas, no water. They shut it off because of a bill that was almost 10 years old. He went in and he said, well, can I see it? They said, well, we're not able to get the exact copy. We've changed systems. I said, well, I can't believe you're bringing that out. Why didn't they collect it then? They said, that's the way they did it then. This is the way we do it now. We turn it off. And they turned off that gas. So they haven't had hot water or heat for some time now. And you know what? I see them spending money on, you know what? I love the immigrants. I love helping, but I see them spend $1 million on these people going through town. Mm-hmm. But they don't turn this person's gas back on and make a reasonable payment plan. They said no payment plan. We want that $900 now up front, all of it. And they didn't have $900. They're living on that measly old $200 a month. So how do you turn? What do? You live without hot water. Yeah. But yet, $1 million for people passing through town. We treat people passing through better than we treat people living here.
Mike, we're down to just a few minutes of our last show. If you had the opportunity to sit down in the living room of every voter in Las Cruces and have your final word with them before they go to the polls this week, what would you look them in the eye and say?
I would tell them the importance of voting. I'm here. I've been a servant leader. 19 years I've been in our community, working with our community. I want to go there. I want to go to the city hall. I want to be the mayor to serve you all, to see what your needs are, to take care of the issues that are crushing your family, substance abuse, mental health. I want to talk to you. I want to know what your concerns are, not people passing through town, but the people that live here. We want to go to your neighborhood. We want a council meeting at your neighborhood so you can attend and let your voices be heard. It is time for your voice to be heard. For too long, you've not been heard. Well, let me tell you something. Things are about to change, and it can only happen is if you go and vote for me as your first pick for Mayor of Las Cruces. It's up upon us. November 5th is here. So you only have Tuesday, November 5th. That's the last time you get it. Well, you know what? Our future is lying on your vote. Thank you so much for inviting me into your living room. I've loved every minute of it. My name is Mike Tellez. Thank you.
And Mike, if people have already made a commitment to vote for someone else for
We'll
first
take
place,
that second place pick.
That's
Choose
right.
us second.
I'll tell you, it's a different world with
Yes, it
ranked
is.
choice voting.
Yes,
So
it is.
voters can vote their first place pick, their second place pick, their third,
All the way to
fourth,
10.
fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth, 10th
And
place
you know what?
pick.
Please study some of these candidates. I don't know how much chance they have this time, but you know what? Jorge, he's an awesome kid, man. You know, he may be our senator one day. He's got the fire. Alexander has a dream for... Look at him. Talk to him sometime. But, you know, my respect goes out to all the candidates for running. Because you know what? They want to just do something for our city.
Let's remind people, too, to pay attention to the bond issues and
Yes,
be careful
absolutely.
to vote for bond issues that they know
Understand and see if there's a tax hidden in there, an increase on your property taxes. I know people who fainted when they saw how high their property taxes went out. And you know what? Every time I see it, it reminds me about that.
That's right. And you know, if we start requiring that they tell us before we get to the polls what
Absolutely.
it's about,
Tell
they
us
will
what's
tell
going
us.
on.
That's right. Thank you all for joining us with Vision Las Cruces. It has been so
It has
much
been
fun.
awesome.
And we appreciate the fact that you've given us your time. We hope that you have learned something you didn't know before you tuned in, or learned how to do something you didn't know how to do before you listened. We appreciate you. We look forward to opportunities to communicate in the future. For now, signing off, I'm Pam Wolf, the candidate for mayor, Mike Tellez.
Thank you so much, Pam.
Thank you, Mike.
You've
It's
a
been
blessing.
great.
Thank you. I'm Mike Tellez, and I approve this message. Lisa Parrott, Treasurer.